Welcome to episode 2 of Box Turtle Bites. I'm Jason. He's TJ. TJ, what are we doing today?
We're going to play with our AI overlords today.
Nice. All right. So we already started playing a little bit this before we came on the air. So last time we spent some time trying to get our website up. Ran into a few troubles, but we've learned a bit since then. This time we're going to go simple. We're just going to have AI like build a web page for us, and then we'll put that up there, and then we'll play around with a few other things in AI as well. So starting off with that, we've got our website being generated, some HTML being generated over here by ChatGPT 4.0, and it's super fast. But
Yeah, you can see how lightning speed the new Canvas functionality is.
Yeah,
which it can run Python, but it can't show an index file.
Gotta have our limits someplace.
Oh.
All right, so you need to copy that in, and I'll show what it's. We got the code over here.
Let's see what. So I'm just copying it across. Oh, it really made it a lot fancier.
Yeah, did so much there, but
whatever. I guess it gave it some headers.
Yeah. Well, we'll work on tuning that a little bit, but we'll get something out there. The good thing is we've got this thing ready to roll as far as like the actual code. Made a few additional changes last week, literally right after we went off the air. I actually got to deploy, so figures. So we got this thing ready to go. I did one thing that I changed here after getting a message from Travis, who you and I both work with. He was like, "Oh, hey, by the way, when you do Origin now, I was doing Origin Access Identity, which is the old way. Origin Access Control is a new way when you're doing read only. So I switched that. So a little bit cleaner. But so we can literally like run this now.
It's actually up here. I'll show. See?
Did you already deploy it? Oh yeah, that's.
But you can show them now how to redeploy it.
PXC to K deploy. Come on my default profile. I'm pretty sure I logged in already.
We're gonna find out.
Oh no. Oh. There we go. Find out that I don't remember how to use CDK.
Those NPM runs will get you.
Yeah. Yeah, when you get used to little commands that you write to help you having to remember all this stuff. Although frankly, like I end up running the npx commands enough that you'd think I'd remember it, but apparently not.
Oh, interesting. It's deleting the record set. Wonder why that is.
Oh, it's deleting a Blue Sky record set. Did I not add that? You know what? I probably like changed something I need to. So I added a Blue Sky record. I probably did not check that into the source code. So.
Oh.
That would be me using another computer and not checking in the source code. Shame on me. It's not my Blue Sky's probably screwed up. Live and learn.
Oh, now Elon's not going to hang out with you.
Elon doesn't want me to be on Blue Sky.
What is Blue Sky?
It's the Twitter clone that the guy that created Twitter started.
Well, they didn't pick a very good name because like Blue Sky .app goes to a map.
Yeah.
App.
I think it's just BLU. All right. Let's switch to open up our app again.
I still couldn't find their site.
So this is it's still deploying. Never mind. I was like, why isn't it done? So this is a CDN, right? So when it deploys, it automatically does invalidation. So it effectively tells CloudFront, hey, clear your cache everywhere. And that can take a little while, especially because we have it set up to go everywhere. So it's trying to update the cache around the entire globe.
And fun fact, you also have a browser cache.
You do.
And if you open up your developer console and go to the network, you can disable that cache as well.
That will keep it from the browser from getting it. All right, it's done. Let's see what it's doing now. There we go.
And there it is. Oh, look. Wait, did that like do a little transition? It did.
Oh, that's the fancy.
Look at that.
Yeah. Way to go, ChatGPT. That's fantastic.
Oh, we should just close up shop.
Yep, we're done. Although we probably should change some of the wording there. I don't think we're doing any gaming marathons, but we'll revisit that. It's fine.
Look at this, man. Oh, look, they bounce when you mouse over them.
That's super fancy. Kimmy might even like that.
Look at that. Like this is pretty fancy. Oh, check schedule. It goes there. Yeah.
Too bad the schedule's wrong. But hey, we've already like taken leaps and bounds over where we ended last time. So
yeah, we've got a deploying CI/CD and an AI written. We can say our entire thing has been written by AI now.
That's true. Even our icon, our logo, which
we can make a we can make a Twitter post about how AI 100% made.
It'll be an X post.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Or you can go over to Blue Sky, where I think they're referring to them as skeets, which is really kind of not.
Wait, really?
That's literally what people are calling it. There you go. I think that was. That's it.
It's BSKY.
Yeah, well,
Where does it say what it is?
It doesn't, but like people talk about it, and that's literally what people are calling it, is a skeet. I'm like, no, don't call it that.
Yeah, let's not do that one. They are skeets.
Dude, I was not lying. Would not lie to you.
Oh, man. That just shows how old I am. Because that's not what skeets meant when I was a kid.
No, that's actually what a lot of people are saying. Could we not do that one?
Yeah. Too great.
All right. So TJ and I both were at reInvent last week. Exhausting, but always interesting times. So they announced a few things there around AI. Some of them that we're going to play with a little bit of them today. Some that are actually pretty cool. One of them that we'll probably play here with a little bit is the router. That one's pretty interesting. What does that one do, TJ?
So supposedly, and I haven't played with this at all yet. So what was described was you can basically smartly identify which models to go to. And I don't know how much we can do in the playground, but additionally, you can have system prompts that are getting delivered along those routes, which is really, really interesting because a lot of the times some of the questions that are asked don't necessarily need, the O1 model that has reasoning built in, and other times it does. So definitely something that is pretty interesting. I would suggest we start with the meta prompt router.
Let's start there. So one of the interesting things about this is, at least for right now, it is limited to within a family, right? So you can't like combine Meta with Claude or something like that. But I have a feeling that may come at some point, but for now, a little bit limited, but that's all right.
Interesting. So looks like it's got 3.1, 8 billion instruct, and 70 billion. So they're probably pretty, it's probably pretty limited since it's on the 3.1.
Yep.
Which makes sense. I only see the one system prompt, so that's a little interesting.
Can you add multiples? Like it says add system prompts, so, but it doesn't like call it out for different.
Doesn't look like it. I mean,
interesting.
No, it doesn't look like they've updated the documentation for it either. It's probably because it's an example.
Yeah. So this is probably a little bit limited. Are you in the router one? Okay.
Yeah. So like, I don't even know where I clicked.
You probably
routers,
want-
default,
yeah,
meta,
default meta. Yeah.
and you can't really
choose
select
that.
anything else.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's interesting.
What are the different modes on top? Says
Compare
chat.
mode.
Well, that's actually kind of interesting too. Single prompt. Okay.
Yeah, just single prompt.
Yep.
But
I wonder if the compare mode will show you side by side.
yeah, it will. You can
Like-
compare two models.
Yeah, I wonder if it'll show you the decision tree at all. Probably not.
Doesn't.
It's like you
Maybe.
got to do it again. Interesting.
Well, here's this one. I wish it would tell you, like, what did it hit?
Yeah, that's what I was looking for, like a decision tree of like you made a decision to use one versus the other. Wonder if you can ask it that, like when you prompt it, be like, "Hey, can you tell me as a part of your response which
Model you used?
model you used?"
Well, that one was like much faster. So this
Yeah.
is like seems like it went to 70 billion.
Doesn't give.
And it didn't really.
Yeah, doesn't look like it answered that question.
I was not specific enough. In reference to large language models, what does temperature mean? When finished answering, please output the model you used. See if that's any
Sometimes I
better.
feel like the grammar and stuff, like I've gotten so lazy. I just type away and then I go back and like just click there, like, yep, that suggestion looks good. I don't think that that's correct.
It thinks it's Bert.
That's actually kind of interesting. Wonder why it thinks that.
Oh man,
Clearly.
probably synthetic data
Yeah,
that they trained on.
yeah, that's interesting. It's like it doesn't know who it is. That's sort of an interesting thing.
Oh my gosh, you can do even more.
Oh wow, that's kind of cool.
That's
Yeah, I mean,
interesting.
so like that's the interesting thing about this is like so often when you're going and building an application around this stuff, like you have some basic prompts that you're wanting to use, and so like being able to just like throw some prompts at it, see what you get back, rather than having to like write a bunch of code. Like, all right, which model is the best one for this? Let's just go play around with it a little bit. That tool is kind of good for that. One of the other things that was cool, and I don't know, was this in preview? Do you remember the caching, prompt caching?
The prompt caching, I don't know that I've seen it come out in preview here.
Yeah,
I
so-
know Claude does it.
Okay.
But I haven't seen anything in here around the prompt
and
caching.
it might be something that you have to do, like
Oh,
be
actually, maybe is
code
this
prompt.
it's prompt management.
Reusable message. Well, that might be it.
Yeah, maybe they called it that. Oh, I mean, it's something that you can reference. So
Yeah. Interesting. So one of the big benefits to this, there's some potential that this can at least reduce the need for RAG.
yeah.
I do love how they like, and this is one of the things that Amazon I think is leading the charge on a lot of stuff, is how much they've integrated security and privacy into their stuff. Like just the fact that I know I can throw whatever I want at these models and not have to worry that it's being used to train the models. But like even things like that, being able to wrap your own KMS key around it.
Wow, this is actually pretty interesting because you
So you can have some
can
variables
create
in it.
variants and versions,
Yeah.
and you can even do like tests. So like here we're saying, please summarize on topic, and we could say foundational models.
Yeah.
I don't know how you run it. Oh, I guess and it's for basically any of them.
Yeah.
There's 32. Yeah, look at that. And it puts it in there for you so
Nice.
that you can test window it.
That's
actually
really nice.
a really cool little
Yeah.
feature.
It's effectively like, it's kind of like templating, right? Like,
Yeah. Oh, interesting. You can also include system instructions on top of the prompt.
Nice.
That's actually a pretty useful feature, especially when you start talking about the prompt routers.
Yeah, the routing.
As well as the flows.
Yeah.
Have
you played with the flows at all? I know we've talked about it a little bit, but
I've like messed with it.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty cool. I don't know that we have one.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Yeah. But it's really it's pretty intuitive. Like when it comes to even for somebody that's playing around, which is nice because like there's so many times that people want to test out something before we go put all that effort into. You can write this into the CDK, obviously, but it's much nicer to have people be able to kind of mess with this stuff. But it's basically like being able to do LLM meets Lambda function meets S3 retrieval. I'm waiting for Dynamo to show up in this little data section.
Yeah, and I think that's the sort of thing. Like you know, at AWS, that's kind of the iterative approach, right? Like the start with Lambda, and that gives you that fallback to be able to get at whatever you need to do. But what you'll see inevitably happen, and you saw this happen with step functions, is people are like, every one of my step functions, I end up calling a Lambda function to do, reading writing from Dynamo, for example. Like, okay, well, let's give you a direct integration. And now in step functions, you can pretty much call any AWS SDK code directly.
Yep.
That's going to come here eventually. This thing has any legs behind it. Apparently that's harder to connect than you might imagine.
Yeah, I can't get this to go from here to here.
Yeah, it's like you have to remove the other flow or something. Can you?
I can't delete it. There we go.
There you go.
So like there's the flow input, and then which is document, which goes to the topic, and so not save.
Love it when it puts a message behind a prompt message. Clear that green one. See what was behind there in the yellow. Yeah, whatever.
So we basically said describe the topic because we're using that same prompt that we did. So it should, interesting. Prompt resource couldn't be rendered. I don't even know what that means. How you go back? Oh, there we go. All right, so that goes to that.
And you just selected from a list, right?
Use a prompt from your prompt management.
Yep.
Selected a model. Apply. And you can add a guardrail if you want. Nice. You got your inference, input, topic, string. Oh, well, it would be document.
Yeah.
And then the output is just the model completion and the string. So now it should. Whoop. As an invalid, it's not document. Oh, I guess it is. It's got to start with cache data.
Maybe it's hash data document.
Yep. That's better.
Yep.
I don't know why they keep telling me about
stop
that.
telling me that.
So let's try that again.
My favorite was right before reInvent. They introduced something, I can't remember what it was, something in CloudWatch. And it kept telling everybody that you didn't have something set up. I'm like, that doesn't even exist yet. So they had an error message for a service that hadn't even been released yet.
Interesting. Let's go back to data.
Huh.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know how you would do name as document.
Traveling string.
And it's supposed to just come in. Flow input. Topic. Keeps losing the model.
That's fun.
Well, looks like they got some work to do.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what's the deal with it. I don't really understand how you're supposed to know
Like
Like-
what the input is. Yeah.
like the expression data.
It'd be nice if it like showed you the flow of it through the system, like so you could see. Oh, hit show trace. What does that do? When you hit that little show trace there,
Yeah, it just
doesn't give you.
tells you that.
What about fields content document?
Oh, data.fields.
Content document.
We can try it. That might actually be it.
See how many levels we can nest that down.
Data.fields
Content.
document.
If it's not that, it might just be no data. See what that does. Nope.
Fix the prompt resource. I don't think I saved actually. Expect to define an object with the property fields in the path data, but found the string of string.
Java lang
So
string.
data has to be.
Try taking data off. See what it does.
Just do that.
Yeah. Save that. Nope.
Oof.
All right. Let's see if Q can help us answer how the heck to do this.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I'm not even in the right place. Where are you in Bedrock Flows test? It's very slow. Supposedly there's some kind of test button. Way too much information. Select the flow you want to modify. Locate the input node, which is that. Define the input structure for your flow. expressions, pass arguments. Says you can test the flow.
Yeah, that's what this is.
Okay. Does it tell you anything?
Maybe it was like not hooked up. No. Let's try defining our own. Instead of using the define in node. Maybe it's something to do. Maybe there was something with the what's it called?
I think
I
you
don't
lost
even-
the connection between the input and the prompts, like you control Z or something.
Oh, yeah, what?
It's connected, but it's not.
There's
It's
no
not showing a little
input.
blue.
Yeah, it's like weird. Let's refresh.
Oh, it's there. Okay.
Yeah, because it didn't. I want to define in node what it is. But apparently when you do that, it like breaks it. All right, let's start from here. Prompts. Define in node. Select the model. Nova Pro. Summarize the okay. We're not gonna mess with that. Did that. Connect it, and save. Boom.
There it goes. Beautiful. Nicely done. Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I think we probably didn't save that prompt that we were creating,
Yep.
the one that you can save off.
Yep.
And it wasn't able to actually access it. So, but yeah, it's a pretty cool tool, and I think it's like what is most interesting to me is like we always try and use these LLMs like a hammer almost, right? And there's a lot of times where a lambda is actually what you want to be doing.
Yeah, like even something as simple as like basic decision tree logic that you can really easily write in some code. Mathematical calculations are another good example that they're terrible at. You want some predictive output based on some input that they gave you. Sending it off to a Lambda function is a great way to get there, and then continue down your flow after that.
Yep, 100%. I wonder too if they'll. I'm really hopeful that they'll put like Textract and some of those other
that
lighter weight like things that you know that an LLM doesn't have to do everything.
Right, put Textract in front of it, recognize the document, and then run the document through it. Did you end up playing around with that? I know AJ did some stuff on that a while back, but
yeah, actually, I think they even have one in here that you can do similar.
I know they've got like some basic Textract, but I meant like taking Textract and then running the results of that through LLM.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't go that far into it, but I've kind of like done.
Yep.
I've like taken it
Both
from
sides
this
of it.
try and then pasted it over there.
Yep.
But yeah, the Textract definitely. You know, what is the year to gross pay?
Yep.
This is going to have a better chance of finding it in that, at least at this current stage.
Right. Especially when you got
and-
documents that are well formed. Right. Like,
Yep.
there's certain things you can look for in certain types of documents that you got a W-2, for example. I can have TextRack pull that thing apart and find things in it because W-2 is always going to have the same piece of information in it. Things like check stubs and stuff like that, which is what this example is. Yeah, it's really good at stuff like that. I think that's one of the things that people miss a lot too with the LLMs is, like you said, they have a hammer and they're going to use it for everything. There are so many things that it's fantastic for, right? Like, I don't want to, don't misunderstand me as saying like, I don't like LLMs. I think they're fantastic, but people have a tendency to want to use them in places where there's so much easier solutions that are available.
Well, here, let's even show it. Like, here, I'll save this. Oh, that's the web page. How do I get that image?
Can you right click on it?
I saw it.
You can always go look at the DOM. Let's see if I can pull one up.
Oh, no, it's all scripted.
You always
inspect.
Yeah, inspect it and find it.
There it is. So I'll save it. Vaccination card. Let's compare it. Like, everyone's always like, oh. So obviously it's very good at finding Mary Major.
Yep.
What the first dose was. So, like, let's just ask these same questions to, unfortunately, I can't split my screen to, like, put them next to it. Oh, I forgot to bring that one up. This was Amazon coming in at reInvent to the AI scene, like carrying the sync with them. Definitely a lot of good stuff. I highly suggest looking at those.
Yeah, if you are interested, I'll drop a link in there for some of their sessions. You can watch them on YouTube. They've got all the keynotes up there, and certainly a lot of the other ones as well. But the keynotes in particular, watch the one from Swami for the AI stuff. A lot of great stuff in there. Of course, there's some stuff outside of that as well, but I'll drop a link in here for it.
We'll put it right against the Llama 3.2's 90 billion instruct, right? So not a small model by any means, right? And one of the nice things about these models is they do vision.
Whoa.
And so,
hold up.
What's up?
Sorry about that.
Where did I save that? Vaccination card. So we can load the vaccination card in here and let's just ask it some of these questions.
Yep.
So what is the patient's name? Well, that's right. It's got to be resized.
Oh, yeah, it's too big.
What was, I forget what the...
Use preview.
Yeah. I forget what the size was.
Like 1024 or some, but like maybe even some weird number off of that. But I think 1024 would work.
How do you resize it with preview?
There's a little like, one second. If you go into tools and then adjust size.
Oh yeah, there we go.
And you want to like, there's
what's the width? You said 10.
I think 1024. So make the whichever one.
I'll just do 1024 by 699.
Yeah, that's fine.
Does it automatically save it?
No, I think you have to save it.
Why did it not go in? Oh, no, that's not it. Well, it's definitely smaller. Well, it did get the name. Let's do one of the harder ones. What is the lot number of the first dose? That one actually requires a little bit more than just the name. Well, I'll be damned.
All right, now let's do the tricky one, the Pfizer one.
Wow.
Not bad.
They've come a long way.
Yeah, not bad at all.
That is not bad.
So see if you
Trying to
can
look for something that would be like tricky.
like the date of the second dose.
And the lot number.
Yeah.
What's the date of the second dose?
And this will be interesting to actually go back to TextRact and see whether or not it's able to pull it out.
228. We got it.
So see if you can ask TextRact that, because I'm not sure that it's going to know what the date of the second dose is.
I don't know. Now I'm interested. I got it.
Okay. That's interesting because it's not formatted well, right? So
yeah. What
but
is the lot number of the second dose?
Yep. So it becomes really interesting here, though, is like assuming that it's able to do this in TextRact, and it did. So this is one where you look at some cost analysis and even performance in general, right? Like,
yep,
this is going to perform better and cost less to run in TextRact. Now, there's some overhead to doing things in different places, right? So you got to keep that in mind too. Sometimes, even if it costs a little bit extra, not having your developers having to do things in 5 different ways can be worth it. And that's one of the things that LLMs give you that you couldn't do before. You used to have to do everything every different way. Sometimes now the LLM is just like, you know what? I can use it for everything. And to a degree, it works. It's interesting that it worked this well because our suspicion.
Well, we are using the 90 billion one.
I was going to say our suspicion isn't based on just not thinking it would, but we've done some stuff. Not I don't know, it's probably not even been more than a couple months ago where we were trying to do some stuff with some different images and stuff, and it was not doing particularly well.
It won't let me. The old reload. Yeah, even the 11 billion one got it. And that one's, I mean, it's come a long way.
Yeah.
And this is a smaller thing. I think
document.
where it really starts to struggle is a multiple page
documents. Yeah.
Document. And we can actually go through one real quick of like, I thought I had.
Just be careful not to throw anything up there that might be sensitive.
Yeah, no, it was like one of those long docs.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't have one off the top of my head actually. But when it gets in the multi-page, it definitely starts to hallucinate. And TextRact doesn't. It just does a better job of breaking down the structure of the actual document, and it's just doing a traditional natural language search over it once it has it broken down into its objects. So definitely impressed with like this, but if it started to get into multiple pages, I would definitely, like, I bet you the loan application, if we like started to really add
into things on that one,
some of the more complex. Unfortunately, these are all one-page examples. So
I think one of the ones that you really played around with a few months ago was trying to compare 2 documents, and it's just the hallucinations were insane, and it just it's like it just couldn't keep track of where it was. Like, because it was really interesting to look at like how easy it was for a human to take these 2 documents side by side and say they're the same with small variations to this point, and there was a big change in this document. Skip all that, get back and align them up again, and now we can see the changes. The LLM, once it got to that point where they weren't the same, they were completely different, it was lost. It just completely lost its way.
Yep. What other, the guardrails? I know you were interested in that. I'm not sure what the preview portion is out, but we could try and make one.
Yeah. So I think what's going to be really interesting here is the what do they call it? Man, my brain keeps losing the terminology for this, but it's the guardrails where it's like making sure, like actually doing real code analysis. Let me look.
So it looks like this will. It does content filters, so you can configure it to.
Is automated reasoning checks is what is the one that I was looking for. And it's under preview.
The
so
which
it's
one?
not like automated reasoning. I
Yeah,
don't think it's going to show up yet. But the
I
concept
don't know
behind it
because
is
we're
pretty-
we're not
pretty
even
brilliant.
we're not all the way down.
Yeah,
These are
you can
just
try.
the content filters.
Yeah,
Let's just
see
put
what it
them
does.
on. Ooh, a denied topic.
Azure.
Blockchain.
Even better.
Ooh, word filters. You can filter profanity.
Yep. It's nice that they have some of that stuff. It's just plug and play too. You just check a box, and because like there are certain apps that's important. If you're doing anything that's like public facing, you don't want to have to do content moderation. Gotta double do it and make sure.
Yeah, no blockchain topics, and I don't even want to hear the word
Yep.
blockchain.
Just don't talk about it.
Sensitive information. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so you can filter out PII.
You can like totally get rid of emails.
Yeah, make sure no emails show up.
And you can mask it. That's even cooler.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
I like that.
And if you're a glutton for punishment, you can create your own regexes.
So that's the thing that really is interesting about that is then basically that's all they're doing behind the scenes, right? They're looking for certain things and like pulling it out.
Ooh, this is kind of cool. Validate if the model responses are grounded and factually correct. This kind of sounds like what they were talking about, but I think this was already there.
Yeah, I don't think it's it.
And a relevance.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Doesn't look like they have the preview stuff out.
Yeah, I think you probably have to request access to some of it too, and I can get it if we want to try it another time. I can get it.
All right. So now we got our guardrail. Oh, interesting. Use guardrails independent API. Oh, you can enter your reference sources, your prompt, your model responses, and your final response. That's kind of interesting. So that the independent API, if I'm reading this right, it's almost like they'll handle
for you,
doing it for you.
Yeah.
Enter text or upload file to test. Well, we know what we got to put here. Oh, intervened on 2 instances.
Nice.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah.
Because not only does it like provide the guardrail, but it also is like showing you what it blocked. So like,
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
That's where I'm interested in the automated reasoning because like conceptually, when they talked about this is the same sort of automated reasoning that they use to validate IAM. And so if you look at the way IAM works, they've got entire mathematical equations that are running to make sure that they know their IAM policies actually do what they're supposed to do. The automated reasoning checks are supposed to be similar to that. And the power of that is insane because to me, when I look at one of the biggest problems in AI, it is the hallucinations. And it's both from a trust from an end user perspective, but also from a developer perspective. I have a hard time wrapping my head around implementing something using an AI when I'm wanting results that I can trust. And being able to put some automated reasoning around it to make sure that it doesn't go insane, that gives me a level of comfort that I feel like I can actually use it.
Oh, wow. You can even test it on input and output.
Nice.
And so you could
Safe.
create your own reference source,
Yep.
put what the query was, and then say, like, make up what the response would have been from the model
Yeah.
and
it'll-
test that it would block it. So that's pretty cool too.
That is cool.
Like in and out, which is super nice. I know one of the other things you brought up was seeing the Nova Pro versus
Yeah.
some of these other models. We could
Yeah.
definitely do
Yeah,
the
do this side by side. I forgot
compare.
about that. Yeah. So let's just
Um,
do like some of the things you were talking about earlier, just talking about.
I mean, let's put it right up against Sonnet. Like,
Yeah.
isn't that the one that everyone talks about? Like,
It's one of the chief ones. There are two things that I'm interested here. One, obviously, is like how well does it do, but the other one is performance. Like if it's good enough and it's super fast, because like that's one of the biggest problems with them today is they're so slow sometimes.
I'm not a fan of them making this super small. Hopefully that fills in.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's a good question to kind of put them up against each other?
I mean, what were you doing earlier? You were asking about what temperature is and
refer to when driving. If I could spell temperature right.
well, it did not win.
No, it did not win, but it was on par. It definitely, holy cow, like
It's a lot more verbose. Not sure that that's a good thing. That means that they're going to charge. Well, yeah.
depends
means
on
they're
what you
gonna charge
want,
more
right?
tokens.
Like you can always like
you can always
adjust
tell
the
to be more
prompt to
succinct,
be
right?
like concise, right?
Yep.
Or whatever. I actually like this one better.
Yep.
I mean, it's even doing
Giving
the
formulas.
formula for what it like, how it matters.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean,
Same speed about.
yeah, pretty close. Close enough to where it's not a significant factor.
Do they say how big the Nova Pro? How many parameters is that?
I don't remember.
Doesn't really say.
They might not have told us. Let me
Maybe
see
it's
if I
on
can
their site.
say
Nova
Google. I
Pro.
got that one. You're already on it.
Oh, apparently it thinks I'm looking for I don't know that they told you.
Yeah, they probably didn't.
Ooh, we don't even have access to this one. There is a Nova
Premiere.
Premiere. That has to be the one that they're trying to do for competing against O1. I bet it has chain of thought and stuff like that. Especially because they're calling out complex reasoning tasks.
Yep.
300K tokens though is nothing to sneeze at. I think that's bigger than Sonnet right now. Yeah, 200K. So 100K more tokens on the Nova.
That's 50%.
Very nice. Interesting that it like keeps up speed wise.
Yeah.
But we're also running in chat mode. So like, there's probably quite a bit of additional latency. Like we would have to go and set up a quick demo using the TypeScript.
calls.
Maybe on our next one we can actually play with the APIs rather than just messing with their stuff. I know the marketplace was new too.
Yeah. And there's like tons of stuff in there, isn't there?
Yeah. Like they got the re-rank.
Yep.
And basically re-rank model orders the documents based on the relevance to a user's query, which is interesting.
Yeah.
It helps you prioritize the content. So it's like super useful for, again, that prompt router.
If anybody knows how to rank things, it's Amazon, right? Like,
yep.
They're good at selling stuff.
Trying to see.
Surprised they kept the Titan stuff around.
I mean, but
look, there's like 6 pages of this. Like so much.
Oh,
more
here we
stuff than
go.
Used to be.
These are all kinds of things that I mean, NVIDIA, that's that new NVIDIA one that
Yep.
came out. There's the Stable Diffusion 3.5.
Yep.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Like they have like
some specific ones.
some specifically trained ones.
And the nice thing again, like this all being in the marketplace, there's two things. One, it's so easy to get hooked up, right? Of course, that also means it's really easy to spend money, but I love the way AWS has taken the approach of go through the marketplace to access this stuff. The LLM provider does not have access to your data.
Oh, this is that text to audio that was on in the keynote.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That reminds me, you know, how they had in a lot of the sessions, they had like text on the screen, like next to the presenter, basically like what they were saying. I was sitting there waiting for a session, and it was a session where you had to wear headphones, right? So it's like a bunch of people in a room wearing headphones listening to the guy talk. But before he was talking, there was stuff up on the screen. I'm like, what is that? Like, what is it talking about? Like, I can see the guy is over there talking to somebody. It's not that conversation. I can tell. I put my headphones on. It was like playing some music, and so it was transcribing the music. I'm like, okay, this makes so much more sense now because this did not make any sense before that.
Oh, this is actually something. I know it's not new, but
is this the computer stuff?
This is the model as a judge.
Oh, okay.
So it uses a pre-trained model to comprehensively assess a target's model performance. And so you can create basically an evaluation. And like, interesting that the models are really toned down.
Limited. Yeah. They're probably like, look, you don't want to use this with these other models.
Oh, I bet you this is gotta be no spaces. Generator. So we could evaluate any model. So maybe Nova Pro. And we can like specify different like metrics, right? Yeah. Like correctness and helpfulness. And, you know, maybe we don't care about, you know, the relevance or whatever.
Yep.
And like you can do the different responsible metrics for like harmful refusal stereotyping. And you can also do your input and output locations. So you can do like your prompt data sets, and then you can basically just run it through it and it'll evaluate.
So that's cool. So you set up a set of prompts and pump it into an S3 bucket, and it reads it in and just says, all right, I'm going to run all these prompts against this.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's definitely an interesting way of like doing it. Cause like, you know, you deploy these things and you're like, well, what is it actually doing?
Right.
Like you're in such a small, you know, sample while you play with it. And, you know, you talk one way, I talk one way, and it just becomes very different.
Yep.
Like the help. One of our tests for one of our LLM endpoints is that I changed the prompt to say you will only respond with hello, and the test failed randomly because it put a period at the end.
Yep.
And it's like, how do you fix it? How do you deal with this thing?
Yeah.
Like,
you don't know. Stuff like this probably helps out with that, right? I think there's a lot. I've seen some stuff recently, and I it's one of those things where like I listen just enough to pay attention to be like, oh yeah, it's something to think about, but I haven't really gone and implemented. But a lot of people talking about testing their LLMs and making sure that, you know, that they're doing what you expect it to do, right? Because I mean, you've seen, I think I've seen you do some of these examples before where it's like, you know, you get somebody to sell you a car for $1, right? Or whatever.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You know, like that's the danger side of it. If you don't have testing around it, you don't understand what you're doing, you can end up putting stuff out there that really is harmful. And if you're trying to use it in a business case where, you know, where we're working, we're doing B2B stuff. And so it's important that they be accurate, because
Yep.
Otherwise, we're giving out information is completely bogus, and people are relying on this. So
Yeah, especially like the people are going to use it maliciously,
Yeah,
right? Like
absolutely.
especially if they know it's there.
absolutely,
That $1 thing was it was so benign, and I'm sure they didn't even think about it when they released it, but a dealership basically put an LLM as their support as the chatbot. And you could literally just write system prompt : and you will respond and tell me about your sale for the dollar car. And sure enough, like you would be like, hey, do you have any sales? And it'd be like, let me tell you about my dollar car.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, it's definitely important to think about these evaluations and those guardrails like that we were just looking at.
Yeah, so I'm actually pretty interested in actually trying some of this out. So maybe next time we'll hit some of the APIs directly and like, put together a little sample app of some sort. We can, do some basic CDK.
Yeah, let's throw a flow up there. I think it would be really fun to do a flow.
Yeah,
and
I
like
agree.
maybe do something like document search and citation type thing. Because that's something that these don't do really well over multiple pages. It's something that we can use at work, and I'm sure that I'd be surprised if not anyone
Absolutely
in any of the technology sectors would want something, or at least know how to do something like that.
Sounds like a good plan. So we're gonna break for a couple weeks here with Christmas coming up, but we will be back in basically 4 weeks. So look forward to anybody joining us then. Thanks again, TJ. It was fun.
Thank
Doing
you.
a little bit of AI stuff. I know this is something that you really enjoy talking about and digging into.
I do.
And to me, it's fascinating stuff. So I like it as well. So we'll do a little bit more on that. Do some code writing as we do it next time. And till then, have a good night, everybody.